Not gonna lie, this was quite a bit harder than I thought it was going to be. I also learned a little bit about myself in this process. I learned I just like pretty colors. And that's really all there is to it. This is just a quick list. And honestly, this list would probably change every week I did it. So don't get mad at me if you don't like my list. It's all about personal preference, but let's go ahead and see it. Now, starting off with number 10 on the list is the quintessential quintuplets. Now, this series very nearly could have bumped by a lot of different things, and it probably will be in the future. And it's definitely at number 10 on the list because one thing I love about this spine set is that it has a great and honestly pretty unique color palette running through almost the whole set. But honestly, if there's a volume that misses, which one do you guys think it is? Because I think it's volume 2. I think you could also say volume 1 as well, if I'm being honest. I think volume 1 and 2 are oddly enough the ones farthest out of the color palette. Everything else is really pastel. And yeah, I don't know. It's just I like it a lot. I love the pastel colors, and the spines are really and just like pop really well on the shelf. As you'll notice, the farther we get down the list, I like pretty colors. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that could have edged it out, but it made my list at 10. And at number 9, we have the 7 Deadly Sins. Now, I wanted a story kind of art style or art spine to make on my list somewhere. And I think of all of the ones I have, which honestly really isn't that many to be honest with you. 7 Deadly Sins definitely took that spot. I think you could say that the spines are fairly plain otherwise. And that the story art on the spines is... I think it's better in the first half. And then it starts to almost get like a little messier. Because I think it really pops in the first half. And so I just think it looks really nice at the beginning. And I think it kind of muddies the water a little bit as you go down the line. But still really nice. A lot of work goes into it. It's something that's really cool and unique on a shelf. All right, and at number 8 on the list today, we're going to be doing Dragon Half. This is another one that surprised me a little bit. But as I was going around my room, I honestly just found that I really thought this one was unique and different. And there's obviously not much to it. It's just these 3 omnibus volumes, but it just really sticks out. I think what makes these volumes the most, and unfortunately, it just doesn't show up on camera super well. It's just the metallicness to like everything. All the gray is all metallic on the spines. And so it makes it look really nice and pops. It's a really unique kind of different thing on the shelf. And so that's, I think, why I liked it so much. And at number 7 on the list, we have honestly a series that you could have, I don't know, given me 50 guesses. And I don't think I would have ever picked this series out without doing it beforehand for this video. But as I was going through it, man, I really like the spines on these books. So this is Kiss and White Lily for My Dearest Girl. And I'll do a bit of a zoom in because what I think I liked maybe most about these books here is just how much... Hold on, let me do that. Nope, that's the wrong button. There we go. And it was just the detail on these is so nice. And so you have the portraits at the top. You have the more like fancy kind of title writing on the side. Then you have the different flowers. And then the numbers are also stylized in a nice font. As everything comes together really well. And I just got to say that, man, at the end of the day, they're just freaking really nice looking spines. Coming in at number 6, Prison School. And these volumes are honestly just impressive to look at. I think probably what ends up helping these volumes get to this list at all is just the fantastic releases Yen Press has done for them. Giving them the large omnibus treatment just pole vaults these volumes, I think, into being so just eye-catching as they are. Because they pop out on a shelf so much. And as I've already said, and as we'll see more of, I'm just a sucker for that really nice, catching like change in color. And I will say, like that change in color doesn't always work. Like for something like Noragami, it doesn't really do much for me. They don't really seem to flow very well. Heck, even My Hero Academia, I think those volumes kind of look like a mess. They just don't look good. But here on these, the colors pop so nice, looks great. Now, coming in at number 5, I think this is the first one where you could really bring this one down to being a total personal preference. Because I think on the whole, the Soul Eater spines here, they aren't fantastic as a whole. But for me, it's more of like, it really hits me personally, and I just will never forget. So that's kind of why it's so high up on my list, or even on my list at all. And that's the fact that as you get to volume 20, you start getting those volumes that get from like a gray to a really dark gray to a black. And I'll even go ahead and zoom in on that. I just remember, because I was buying these volumes as they were coming out, and I don't want to spoil anything with the story, but the story, like the way the story is going, changes the color of the spines. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. Now, it's too bad it wasn't integrated, like, if it could have been integrated more into the whole of the set, because you almost look at it and go, well, they're all white, and then you have a few, like, off-colored ones, and then the black ones, and it goes back to white. That's really weird. But as far as the story goes, and when you bring everything into it, how the story just has the increasing badness of the story change the actual spines, I think is fantastic, and so it'll always have a soft spot in my heart for that. Coming in at number 4, I personally think there's a lot of really nice details to appreciate about the Nisekoi spines here. And some stuff I really didn't even notice till I was looking at them closer for this video. And so just as a whole, it looks really nice. And this is what Soul Eater, those volumes are really missing. It's all uniform, but it's not boring. It's got its standard color, but I've noticed with volumes that have that color switch within, they have that standard black all the way across, but then they also have the color switches in between. And let's get a little bit of a closer look at that. So you have that really nice, where all the volumes, because one of the things that's awesome about these is just that the little details all over the spine. So they've got like the lock and chain around the number, which just makes it pop some more. You've also got it in the title, so that looks good as well. But then the Shonen Jump at the top matches, for the most part, the color of the volume number. So those are two really things that go really well together. If those colors weren't the same, I think it would really throw it off. But then what's really gets you is when you go down, and this is what I just realized, that the actual color of the volume number and the chain around it corresponds with the character that's on the spine. So I had no idea. So you can go, and you can see like green, and then you go until she shows up, which is so weird. She doesn't show up. Well, no, actually she does. Oh, that isn't she. So she shows up again in volume 6. But for the most part, the colors correspond, like, again, with their character, or just slightly varied. At least I think so. That seemed to be something that that was happening, but maybe I'm just reaching on that. But I thought I saw several places where when a color came back, it was the same character. But maybe now that I'm looking again, that's really not the case at all. So that's okay. I big-brained it maybe a little bit too much, but I still think these volumes just look really, really nice. Coming in at number 3, I don't even know if I need to say too much about why these volumes are fantastic. I mean, all you have to do is look at these to just think to your mind, wow, those look really good. The color palette, really nice. Like I said, there are series that do this every different volume of color change that doesn't work. But whoever was designing the colors on these volumes was really smart. They didn't just say, let's pick a different random color out of the hat. They used colors and color tones, whether it was pastel or hard colors, and they switched them in and slotted them in appropriate places where before and after them works. Like I think, like I said before, the My Hero Academia books, now that I've got like, 30 of them, and what is it, 28 of them, and you look at them on the shelf, and you gotta look at them and go, ugh. Like at the first like 4 or 5 volumes of My Hero is really nice, but altogether, man, it just kind of looks like a mess. But these volumes, and it's not only the colors, what's that little detail at the bottom where like the coming out of the genie, and so it breaks up that solid color and you get that uniform just genie kind of smoke coming out. The character art looks nice. The title I think works really well being smaller up at the top. Like something like Nisekoi, the title was quite a bit bigger and took up a lot more room. But this one gives, a nice bit of room for the character portraits, but it doesn't like, what it does better than Nisekoi is Nisekoi blocks them out with different like solid colors. This one just puts opaque backgrounds on them and just lets them background into whatever color volume they're on. Again, so I just think it looks great. Looks great. And that's in 3rd place. Hey, I wasn't lying to you. Number 2, we have Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. Now, obviously these books are really rather new, so it's possible I just have recency bias going here. But man, do these colors pop just more than I think anything on my entire collection. They've gone for such bright, vibrant colors here that like every time, like if I just do a quick turn and look at my shelf, it's one of those things that even though it's only 7 volumes, your eye just gets like drawn directly to it. Like I could freely admit that maybe these volumes are slightly too high on my list just because they don't really have all that special detail that someone like Magi has. But I'm excited to see how these go. It looks like it might start to be doing like a recurring color theme, which would be so smart. Like that would be the smart thing. If they go back into the green, blue, red, oh my goodness, that would be the absolute way to do it. But anyway, I just love them. I just think they pop so much, and it just made it to number 2. Maybe a smidge high, but what can I say? I may be colored by the fact that I just really like the series. As well, and I'm reading it right now, so that might be one of the reasons. Now, before we go to number 1, I would like to just mention here some honorable mentions, because there are several that probably could have or should have made this list. The Berserk Omnibus editions, the black leather bound with the right lettering, beautiful. And then a lot of the Dark Horse like omnibus editions, they're all beautiful. I wanted to put Oh My Goddess on this list, but as much as I love them, they just didn't quite make the cut. My Youth Romantic Comedy is great. Natsumi's Book of Friends, while not super crazy or detailed, I just love how the spines look. Dead Man Wonderland's a unique one with just the black and the white alternating. And so yeah, those are some of my ones that just didn't quite make the list. But now, we're going to go on to number 1, and it's one that I think is more of a personal thing for me. I think the spines are fantastic, but I also think my love of the series might color it just a little. And at number 1 on our list, we have My Monster Secret. Now I know it's not the flashiest cover of the spines. They're not maybe the most interesting spines, but there's just something about them for me that it all comes together so well, and you just really, really notice it on a shelf. And they're so uniform. Because I love the way it does the character art on the bottom. It does that thing just like Magi does, where it doesn't have like a solid background behind them. It blends them in with the white. And so the white and the red work really well. And everything, I just love how everything is so bold. As long as like font on these volumes. And so let's zoom in a little bit. One of the things I think looks really nice about these volumes is how large like the character art is. It doesn't try to put too much emphasis on anything but their face for the most part, and maybe some of the upper torso. Because some of them, like Nisekoi, that was lower on this list, it puts a lot of more of their body into it, and you really get a lot of detail out of the faces and the facial expressions on these spines, as well as the fact that they're all doing the same thing, which I think also is like a really different and unique kind of way to have like character art on a spine. Because obviously if you've read My Monster Secret, That's kind of the thing. They've all got a secret, obviously. And so, and then another thing that really sticks out and I really love is that whoever is on the spine also has a corresponding item. So so you have like the bat and the bolt, obviously for back for head, and you have the moon for obviously Wolfman. And so everything, the glasses, and they reoccur, but then when they do reoccur, they'll have slight differences to them, so they're not, the same thing every single time. I don't know. It's just, I love it. And then that volume's such a good detail because it's like a kind of a two little part arc right there. So it has the two parts of the same half. I don't know. I love it. I love these books and I just love the way they look. I think My Monster Secret does a great job. I might be colored some, I think fairly, as you could say, as by the fact that I just love this series in general. So that's probably why it boosts it to number 1, where maybe something else probably could have been. But yeah, guys, let me know what you thought of my list. Let me know your list below. And I'll see you next time.